Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Dash of Chaos Theory. I am Dash, and I'm here with my co-host, Charlie. And today we are finally going to talk about the new Jurassic movie, Jurassic World Rebirth, which has come out, actually, a month from today. It's
And
like,
not today?
yeah.
Amazing.
So that kind of worked out. Um, I know that we've been talking about it, and I know that we wanted to record, but we had to kind of coordinate our schedules and everything. So we're finally getting to talk about it. And I think since we've both seen it twice,
Hmm.
so um the first watch, I think for both of us was just kind of initial watch and just taking it all in. And then the second watch for both of us, I feel like I was kind of paying attention a little bit more. Not that I wasn't paying attention the first time around, but I was just kind of looking for like smaller details and things like that. So,
For sure.
yeah. So, what were general thoughts?
It was so much fun.
Hmm.
It was so beautiful as well. I know we were talking about it from the start, but it was so bright and vibrant, and you don't really get that many films these days with that kind of color scheme.
Hmm. And not like
It was
oversaturated, like
no,
yeah.
like they were kind of like embracing the whole jungle vibe.
Hmm.
All the dinosaurs looked amazing.
Hmm.
We got to see our spinos again.
Hmm. Oh man, the Spino design this time was
Uh, Obsessed with the color
biblically
scheme.
what everyone's saying, biblically accurate resources.
Spinos. Uh, the colorings on them were so beautiful.
Hmm.
Um, Dilophosaurus cameo.
Yep, for like 10 seconds, less than. Actually maybe like 30 seconds because it's like
Yeah.
kind of hopped out and everything. So,
But I enjoyed it more than the cameo we got in Dominion. So
oh, right. The triple cameo, three of them.
yeah, yeah. Oh, my poor babies. But no,
Yeah, like just like following on that, like yeah, I think just visually, it's one of the best visual movies I've seen in a while. And I'm not too much of a stickler for that. Grand scheme, it's like I know the commentary around how much darker films look and how they're, lighting and everything like that. But I don't think it's everything, honestly. And not to be a snob about that, but unfortunately, a lot of these movies are colored and color corrected and lit in a way that is meant to be seen in theaters. So when you're watching it at home or like,
yeah.
if you have, and again, I'm not being a snob about it, but if you have like an older TV or whatever it is, unfortunately, these things are filmed and edited in a way that is meant to, you're supposed to optimize that. So I totally get where people are coming from, but it's like how it really bothers me when someone will be like, "Oh, this trailer looks awful." I'm like, "You're watching it on your phone." Like,
Yeah.
you know, and not to say that phones, aren't good or anything, but they're not they're not meant to be seen in that format. And I think if you were to go back and look at what trailers look like in the 2000s when YouTube was first sort of kind of becoming popular versus what they look like on screen, it's the exact same thing, but people didn't really comment on it because, not everyone had a smartphone that they were watching. Like that was the thing, is most of the times when you watch trailers, the first time you saw it was in a theater because you watched the previews before you were watching something else. And that kind of culture has changed because anytime a trailer releases, releases in the day of in theaters. Sorry, oh my gosh, I can't talk. And then also online. So
Mhm.
and it's across all social media. So sometimes you're not even watching it in the right aspect ratio because you're watching it on Instagram or like
TikTok.
whatever. Yeah, TikTok or whatever, which is fine. Again, I have no reservations on people watching it in that format. I just think it kind of does a disservice to what it's supposed to look like when you're supposed to see it on the big screen. But again, like I'm not trying to be a snob about that. I just think that
No.
there are some factors to it, and yeah. But that being said, just in general, this movie looked so good. I think it's so silly, but like all the reds. You sent me that TikTok, but it's so true. Like all the
Mm.
reds in the movie were
It
so
so
red.
well.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I
every time the flares were kind of brought up, my
yeah.
God.
And I think also just that intro too, the use of the red in the intro to the movie and then how
Mhm.
it pulls back. I got so excited when it pulled back into the logo and the music and everything. I was like, oh my God, we're in for such a fun ride. I already knew. I was like, okay, just this like 3 minute intro alone is already better than all the Jurassic World movies for me, personally. Um, and-
Absolutely.
yeah. And I know we've kind of tiptoed around the Jurassic World movies, but I mean, after watching Rebirth, I'm like, okay, like it's pretty easy. Like we hate the Jurassic World trilogy; it sucks. um,
Oh,
and um, I just, it really was nice to watch this movie and feel like I was watching a Jurassic movie and not the idea of a Jurassic movie and what it should be. Because I feel like Jurassic World Rebirth it just it just understands why I think most people fell in love with the first movie, and I don't know if people really understand now why they love the first movie, if that makes sense. Like I know a lot of
yeah.
people like, oh, Jurassic Park's amazing, but people haven't sat with the reasons why they actually really like that movie. They just think it's this, and this, and because that's what they've heard over and over again. Um, but I feel like this move, like Rebirth, really understood that. And I think everyone involved understood that too. Like they knew
So,
they were in a Jurassic movie, whereas like I feel like the Jurassic World trilogy, the Chris Pratt trilogy, like they didn't know they were in a Jurassic movie. They just like thought they were making one, you know? So,
sorry, calling it the Chris Pratt trilogy is sending me
yes.
to an
Well, I have to clarify because this movie is also technically within Jurassic World. So if I'm
yes.
referring to the Chris Pratt trilogy, I mean Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion. And then if I talk about Jurassic World, I'm talking about like the current one, Rebirth. So yeah. But yeah, so just I know again, both of us loved it, if that wasn't clear.
Mhm.
And I think there's so much to unpack. There really is. There's shot composition, there's the characters, there's the music,
Oh my
the,
God.
yeah, the score. There was obviously just like the dinosaurs, and then there's just the general storytelling, which I thought was very clean. I don't know. That's
Yes.
such a I hate to describe it that way, but it is it's very good storytelling, and a lot of people disagree with that. But
I know. It's kind of every time I'm looking at those reviews, it's like I don't understand what you're talking about.
I think just to try to kind of, put us in a linear way of talking about this.
Yes.
I think what's hard for people with this movie, and in a podcast that both of us listen to, like they kind of said it the best. So it's the Film Bros podcast. Shout out to them for their Jurassic World Rebirth
Uh,
episode because it's incredible.
they
Um,
are perfect.
yes, and they talked about a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, but uh, I think it really boils down to this movie does not treat its audience like it's stupid, and it leaves a lot of thinking for the audience to do in a way that they're not used to, especially from this franchise as of now. Um, because a lot of the discussion that I've seen online or the reviews say that there are plot holes, which is a misuse of the word entirely because it like the plot's still going. There's no hole in said plot. It's just that there's information they're not given fully. So they're given the information and like you're meant to fill it in a bit. Um, but I think a lot of people nowadays, especially when it comes to these kind of action summer blockbusters, are expecting movies to uh, spoon feed them so that they don't have to think it's just meant to be kind of, fun and action and you're just supposed to enjoy yourself. But this movie, there's a lot of setup that requires you to pay attention because it pays off in the third act. A lot of things that are said in the first act do come to
Mhm.
fruition in the third act. And it could be one conversation. It could just be one line too, and it comes back in the third act of the film, which a lot of films, like I said, don't do that again. So like a lot of films, they don't use that visual medium of just showing something and then why it makes sense later, because a lot of people will be like, instead of like, the camera panning to like whatever it is, they'll, let's say it's a T-Rex, right? They'll be like, oh my God, it's a T-Rex. Like, you know, so um and I think that is a big problem why general audiences are having a difficulty kind of absorbing this film in
Mm.
a way. I don't know. I don't know if you like necessarily agree with that, but um, yeah, I don't know. Like I found that I was fully engaged because there were things that they like hinted at. And I knew that my brain was like, oh, like is this going to be important later, like in the back of my mind, and some of them
Sure.
were, and some of them like showed up and things like that. But yeah, I don't know if you like fully agree with that, or like I know we've talked about it a bit, but I really do think
Yeah,
that
I mean,
is a contributing factor.
absolutely. Because I know I told you about like one colleague, co-worker who'd seen it and he
Hmm.
didn't like it. He found it was boring. He said he fell asleep. But then immediately after saying that, his argument was there were no dinosaurs. So it was like, but you said you fell asleep. You
Hmm.
missed all of the dinosaurs between being asleep and not being asleep.
Yeah.
And it's just like that kind of, it feels like that kind of situation all the way
Hmm.
through. It's like the things were there, you just weren't looking for them.
Yeah. I think also too, like in speaking with the dinosaurs, is how
Mm,
specific the dinosaurs were in this film, that they in in comparison to how we've just recently seen them in the Pratt trilogy, they're
yes.
less, I don't want to say they're less characters, but they're like, it's like the dinosaurs are collectively one character versus trying to make each one kind of like a personality, if you will. And I don't
No,
think
I hear
there's,
that.
yeah, and I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that. Like if you want to do that in the films, but I think collectively it kind of brought it back again. It's just like they're animals in their own environment, and that was kind of the collective idea of these particular dinosaurs on this island, and then the difference between that and the like hybrids or the mutant. I get they're called mutants in this one, not so much hybrids because they're not
Yeah.
like successful. um but there's a distinct difference between that and like the mutants and the regular dinosaur. They're not regular, you know what I mean? But like,
Yes.
and the other dinosaurs, because um the way they're framed, the way they're shown, and the way that the characters react to them too. Um,
Mhm.
is not to say that they're not scared of a T-Rex or they're not scared of a Spinosaurus, but they're scared in a way because dinosaurs have been on the earth now, or like to their knowledge since like what, the 2000s, basically, if I remember the timeline. It's like
Uh,
2005 is when like the park technically opened for Jurassic World, because it was like,
yeah.
yeah, so
Just check the timeline before we did this. That's my
yeah,
bad.
but I mean, it irrelevant. Like they've
Yeah.
been known to everyone basically like in canon since like the T-Rex showed up in San Diego
Yeah.
um
Iconic.
in the 90s, and then like whenever the Jurassic World Park opened. So it's like their fears come from that. Like there's a
Mm,
limited fear to them, and I think that's really reasonable, because you can't, have them be fully terrified all the time when they've been there for a certain amount of time as well.
yeah.
And I think
It's
that was also really important they showed in the movie to like keep in line with that canon and to keep in line with that lore, is that like, yes, they are still scared of them, but like they've also seen them quite a bit. And we've talked about this. It's like seeing an elephant in the wild. Like,
yes.
of these animals. You've probably seen them in zoos or whatever you want to, like, whatever. But like, there's still a majesty to them, but you're also kind of used to them. So,
Mm.
you have to play, and I feel like they played that really well with the dinosaurs. But then with the
Especially
mutant,
if like
yeah.
I'd say with the family of the Mosasaurus, like they're
Mhm.
fully aware it's there. They know how to kind of handle the situation. They're prepared for it.
Hmm. And oh my God, I can't even, I don't even like, I probably should have had like a proper timeline of how to talk about it, because now you're talking about like the family. And I feel like there's a Delgado family, and that entire storyline to me is one of the best parts of the movie. And it's just been shit on online, and it
Oh my
drives me
God.
insane because I can't imagine having that little empathy to not be interested in their story and why they're important to the story. Yeah, there's just I can't, like, there's so many people that are just like, oh, I don't want kids in a Jurassic film, and I'm like, okay. Like,
I'm just
I just
like, sure, you don't want
yeah.
Jurassic Park because all of the every movie
Yeah,
has
and
kids.
it's so crazy to me because, and then that really to me like kind of speaks to again the Pratt trilogy, because like there are kids in those films. One of
Hmm.
them is like very highly like part of the plot line, like is very much part of Fallen Kingdom and is very much part of Dominion. And for you to be tired of that, to for you to be like, oh, I don't want them. I mean, that means they were doing something wrong. If you feel like a sort of fatigue about children being in the films, that means they weren't being written in a way that made sense to the story. Um, and especially with Maisie, it's just like a whole thing. Like, we'll get into that or something else. We're talking about Rebirth, but it's hard not to, talk about those because those are like the films that we just
Predecessors,
had.
of
Yeah, the
course.
predecessor films. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I think that again, like I thought all of the characters were very interesting. I especially thought the family was interesting. I thought our main three, I think our main three, not that they're the least interesting, but they're just like, like you kind of know what you're getting with them. And that's the thing. I feel like the storyline was very clear about who these characters were and what their stories were going to be. And I feel like so many people from whatever online are just like, well, I don't understand why person A, like Zora, for example, didn't do A, B, or C. I'm like, but why would she?
It made no sense.
There's no like people have created this version of who they wanted the characters to be, and as opposed to looking at the movie and what is presented to you of who these characters are, it's just like, oh well, they should have done this. I'm like, but why? Like, then you wanted to watch another movie. Like, I don't, like you have to watch the movie that's in front of you. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You're
um
just over here like writing fan fiction of it in your head. Just say,
exactly. I hate when people do that in general, but it really, really grinds it, like it has been grinding my gears about this movie in particular, because I just feel like Zora, Duncan, and Henry, like all three of their characters were so like clearly laid out of what was going to happen to them. And it's not even necessarily predictable. It's just that's storytelling. It's
yeah,
when you watch, when you watch like any sort of like hero type of thing, like they're going to succeed, or like whatever. And
yeah.
so it's just I don't know. I'm literally shrugging on screen right now because I just didn't really understand what people didn't understand about this movie.
And I think we've been talking about this probably every day
Yeah.
since it came out. We've
Yeah.
had like some type of talk about something to do with the movie or
Hmm.
the responses.
Hmm.
I think we're any closer to puzzling it out
Hmm.
either.
I think it really does boil down to if you really enjoyed the Chris Pratt trilogy, you're not going to enjoy this movie. I think it's just because what those movies did is like a completely different thing from what they did in Rebirth. Whereas Rebirth is much closer to Jurassic Park. And I think the thing with Jurassic World is the Pratt trilogy. The first one relied very heavily on nostalgia and was
Mhm.
really trying to remind you of Jurassic Park, which is fine. Like, don't I'm not knocking it for that, but because of that, it's kind of I kind of think of it like oh my God, what is it even called? The first of like the newest Star Wars films, where it was
Oh,
pretty much an entire remake of like A New Hope. Like there was a big ship, they had to like
the
destroy
Last
it.
Jedi?
No, that's that's the last.
Okay, I should have puzzled that one
Yeah,
out.
I,
I
I I don't know why I'm like blanking on that. It's not like it's an old
I
movie.
saw it as
I've
well.
seen I've seen them all too. So for some strange reason, I'm just blanking. But regardless, like the new ones with like Ray and Finn and Poe and everything. Um, yeah, I just felt like Jurassic World and that Star Wars film. Oh my God, it's gonna come to me like 20 minutes from now. Um,
I'm trying to Google it right now.
yeah,
Like a
it,
typo.
Force Awakens,
Force
that's what it's
Awakens.
called. Yes. So yeah, so Force Awakens, that's the one I'm referring to. It feels like that, where it was just trying to be kind of like the same thing, and then would sort of like inject like its own personal taste to it, which didn't really help. And then that's where I think it went wrong, because then they were like, oh, now let's focus on all the things like we tried to like inject into this like Jurassic Park copy, and like those were the worst bits. Like, and then they just went and made a whole trilogy out of it, and it made billions of dollars, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jurassic, I feel like Rebirth, it's similar to Jurassic Park structurally, but the story is not the same at all. But I think that's so great, of just kind of that, again, that same intro, of kind of, here's an incident, and like there was an incident in Jurassic Park, and just starting off that way and then pulling away from it. And I think, again, that's like a story structure and a film structure that a lot of films don't do anymore, because it's like you're introducing something and expecting the audience to just hold on to that for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you like, yes, in Jurassic Park the Velociraptors are shown multiple times, but they're never like physically shown. They always show like the cage rattling, or like when they fed the Velociraptors and it was just like them eating like the cow in Jurassic, you know what I mean? Like they don't
Yeah.
reveal the raptors until much later in the film, and then you get like the iconic kitchen scene and then the finale and everything like that. But all the other dinosaurs you kind of see as they like appear, whereas the raptors are kind of hidden throughout the entire movie until like the major reveal in basically the third act.
Mm.
um and they do that structurally similarly in Rebirth, where it's like you kind of saw the D-Rex, like you saw, like its claws, and you kind of saw like a little bit of its snout, and then the reveal at the end, which was so good. Oh my God. I just remember when I was watching it for the first time, and that reveal of it grabbing the helicopter, I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
That is probably one of my favorite shots I've seen in the film this year,
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a kind of uh, creative use of perspective and
Mm-hmm.
lighting to kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel the same kind of like crushing weight of that Jonathan feels. Jonathan, I'm calling him Jonathan
Mm-hmm.
Bailey.
Yeah.
You kind of feel that, oh my God moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it's also the way, because it's like the helicopter, like the nose of the helicopter comes out first, so you're thinking, oh, it is coming for them, and then you just see the claw grab it, and then the face of the D-Rex. Oh, like I just remember there's so many shots like that in this film. It's like that kind of reveal. The Spinosaurus reveal when they're on the beach was one of the
Mm.
best Jurassic movie like moments too, of it just like rolling over, and you don't care if it doesn't make sense and that they didn't notice it. Like it just, and you see it in the background, and then like, oh, it's over. Like it's like she's done.
That was that was such like a genuine jump scare for the people I saw it with the first time.
Hmm.
It jump scared a lot of people.
Hmm.
To watch it the second time because I saw it in Dolby,
Hmm.
it was so much cooler. It was so much more beautiful to watch.
Yeah. My first viewing was good, but my second viewing, the audience was like hooked, and we had like this group behind us that was like screaming and laughing, and it made the experience so fun. And I was like, wow, and I said this after, we watched the movie. I was like, wow, I haven't been in a movie in a while where you can tell the audience is having fun, because they're having such a visceral reaction, whether it's being scared or being excited. And the people I was with, like they were watching the movie like literally like they were watching it like this, like, and with their shirt over their eyes because they were scared, or they were like holding their head because they were like, oh my gosh, like, and that was exciting for me because to see people enjoying it that much, especially when I enjoyed it, the first time around. um
Absolutely.
just to see people reacting in that way was fantastic. But yeah, it's just like those close calls, and like again, that Spinosaurus shot, it's the raptor, the very small cameo of the raptors.
Yeah.
right in the background of that one scene too, but and then like immediately they're gone. It's just all of those things. There's so many cool shots that
It's
make
when
you,
sorry,
yeah,
the Quetzalcoatl. You have to correct my
like Quetzal
pronunciation.
Cutlass, yeah,
Yes, thank you. Um, when he's trying to get up the temple away from it,
yeah.
and it just kind of head pokes out. He's in his mouth. Oh, amazing.
I know. That's definite. I think that's probably one of the most brutal scenes that is necessary because we all know that the
Yeah.
most brutal scene is still going to be like Katie McGrath in
Oh my
Jurassic
gosh.
World. Most ridiculous thing ever. But I think when it comes to one of the Jurassic deaths that is expected and that you know is kind of going to happen, yeah, the
Hmm.
Cutlass is like it's pretty up there. It was great. Like literally, like you said, the head poking up, its beak being like slightly open, and you just see the body in there. Oh, like that is so is
They're
so
so
good.
good at doing like you like the false hope and like then desperately trying to raffle him up and everything. It's like, oh, never mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
Yeah. And it's just there's so much there's so like I can't I want to I really hope I get to see it at least one more time in theaters before it goes, like on home release. I'm definitely gonna buy it. That's not even a question.
Oh yeah,
But um yeah, there's just I don't know. Like the more that I think about this movie, the more I love it. Not that I didn't already love it, but I was like I remember thinking the first time I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, it's like in the mid rankings. Like it's either like tied with Jurassic Park 3 or just above that or just below it. Like I could see it kind of, flipping around in there, but like the more I think about it, I was like, maybe like it's pretty solidified in the top three.
for
Like
sure.
and like my wife thinks it's like her second favorite, and I was like that is a bold statement to rank it number two. But I respect that ranking because I think there's a lot of good things in this. And I think it's just again, it's like it is a Jurassic film. Like it it reads like one. The character setup, the story setup, the way that the dinosaurs are presented, it's just everything that again I loved about the first Jurassic Park film, and it's because there's like so much heart to it. It's just
Absolutely.
I think there's so much emotional payoff, and I think some of the best characters in the entire franchise are in this movie, and they're like up there with like Ian Malcolm. I think Ian Malcolm is always going to be kind of like the number one, at least when it comes to the movies. Like we love Yaz. Shout out to Yaz from
It's
Cacrodatious
no
and Cancer.
sarcastic.
But I mean, Zora is pretty much like the movie version.
It is. Uh,
um, so
and we were so mad about that as well. We knew we'd love Zora,
yeah,
and we
and
were so right.
yeah, I mean, she didn't disappoint. Like from the first few shots of the trailer, we're like, oh no, she's gonna be this
Oh
like
no.
sarcastic person, and she was even funnier. There were so many scenes. I've told you this in the past month, but I think about like the in Nike's line all the time because the facial expression that like Scarlett Johansson uses in that scene, like just everything about it is so funny. And I was like, I think that's something that people haven't really talked about. Like this movie's funny as hell, and
For
in
real.
all the right places too. Um, and that humor comes from every kind of character dynamic too. It's not just from like the kids or something like that, but um because usually the kids kind of offer that comedic relief majority of the time
Hmm.
because it's like they're kids. But I think just like in the Jurassic Park films, it's like the adults are also having some of those like comedic reliefs. I think like Ian again, like he had so many of those one-liners in the original like two films, like like oh that is one big pile of shit, like or him
How
yawning.
many other Sarahs do you know
Yeah, yeah.
on
How
this
many
island?
on this island, or in the beginning of Lost World when like the mom's screaming and it cuts to him like yawning on the subway. Like he had a lot of those comedic lines, and Vince Vaughn as well. But like, and I think the Jurassic, like the Pratt trilogy, also was missing that humor. I feel like they tried to give it to like oh, what are their names? Franklin and Zia. Is that correct? Yeah. Um,
Oh, yes. In
right?
Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah. They tried to give it to them, but it wasn't enough because it's just like that again felt like that undercut where it was just like, oh, we don't know what to do with the situation, so let's just like put humor to kind of undercut the situation. And I think that's hard for any action film, to be honest. Like, not even just this franchise. I think when you're trying to put humor in an action film that is meant to be kind of terrifying,
Mhm.
it's difficult to organically put humor into it. So I'm not gonna like completely knock off those movies because I've seen it happen in multiple films. I think of the MCU like,
Oh
that's
my God.
yeah, where their number one crutch is to like never take anything too seriously and undercut it with humor. But so that in general is difficult. So I'm not really like, this is a Jurassic thing. But yeah, like, I don't know. I guess I feel like we're just ranting about it. But how about like a little bit more of a focus? And why don't we talk about the characters? We'll start with the characters, and maybe that's so we have this
Sure.
subject. Yeah, let's talk about the characters. um, so I guess the first two characters that we're actually properly introduced to would be Martin Krebs. Yeah, that's his name. Krebs and Zora. And it kind of just sets up the whole reason why we're going on this adventure, basically. Um, which I think is hilarious, too, because again, it's like, oh, it's a pharmaceutical company. Immediately, I was just
I
like,
mean, yeah,
well,
of course it is.
like, of course it is,
Sure.
right? Yeah. And then, Zora makes her appearance, just like literally quite literally appearing in someone's car. So again, that kind of really set the tone for who her character was going to be, and just kind of that sarcasm and that like bluntness and brevity that like, she was going to be the entire movie. And it
Oh,
worked really well. I was like, oh man, love her already. like you're saying, like we knew we were going to love her, but then like when you watched it in the context of the movie, I was like, oh my god,
oh no.
it's like the first like 5 minutes of her being sarcastic. I'm like, well, here we go, I guess.
It's when she meets Henry and they kind you know that when he's kind of eating the Altoid and then he's kind of waiting. She's just there kicking her little feet.
I know it's so funny because you're so short, right? Yeah, it really reminded me of Scully a lot in like how short
Yes.
she is in comparison to the rest of the cast. The Altoid scene is hilarious, in my opinion.
I mean, I didn't even know they were Altoids until like after I started seeing all the criticism because obviously they're not like a thing in the UK. Like
Exactly, exactly.
I was just like, oh, mint.
Hmm. But also,
So
just yeah, just in general, like they're not. I mean, they are a thing here in Canada, and they're like overall a North American thing. But like, it's definitely a more American brand that like people care that that's the thing about like product placement, right? It's usually American product placement. So like, if it's not really a thing like where you're from, then you're just like,
you
don't.
are gonna miss it
Yeah.
because I mean, I've been like really like, locked in on the whole product placement
Hmm.
argument
Yeah.
so much.
I th-
So I was doing my research. It's like there's so many brands that are mentioned in the other Jurassic World movies
yeah.
that I didn't know existed because they're not brands that are here
No.
or anywhere outside of the US and
Yeah.
Canada.
I think there is like an obvious like if I wouldn't be able to list them off, but I can picture the scene like it's kind of like the shopping district scene of the Jurassic World film, like, and obviously there's a bunch of different stores and stuff there, but again, it's like the only reason I know that is because like I go to theme parks, so like I know that the shopping district is usually filled with brands like that. But again, like you're saying, if you're not aware of North American brands, it's not really gonna hit you in that way.
The ones I did write down a few because again, was really focused on this for a bit.
Hmm.
And I only wrote down the ones that I knew of, and then the one that I didn't even realize was product placement until I'd read about it.
Hmm.
The margarita dude in Jurassic
Oh
World.
yeah, it's Margaritaville, right?
He has a
Yeah.
toy.
Yeah.
There's like a whole toy of him holding the margaritas, and
Yeah, it's like it's like part of the not the logo, but like yeah. It's a whole thing.
that's like people are so mad over the Snickers bar, and that exists when there's like a whole toy around it, and it's I have been mad about this for like 3 hours since I
I
found this
know,
out.
I know, I
I have
know.
been mad about it.
The Snickers bar really fucked people up, and I was just like, the Snickers bar in Rebirth is hilarious. The whole like final because we love Final Destination, so the whole
Absolutely.
Final Destination like nature of the intro to Rebirth just tickled my brain in the
I
best
was
way
it was
because
like Final Destination vibes.
right,
One, I have a peanut allergy, so I'm there dying about that too.
yeah,
Three, it's a reference to the Lost World book. It's
yeah,
a win-win-win.
I know, and I just but I think like just thematically it works so well too because people being like, I can't believe this like candy bar ruined the whole system. I'm like, yes, that's the point. Like that
Yeah.
is exactly the point. That is along the lines of chaos theory, which like they talk about all the time. And it's along the lines of like we spared no expense, but like this one system can get like messed up if like a wrapper falls into it. Like that to me
It's the
again,
hubris of it.
yeah, I'm like that to me again is Jurassic Park. Like if you don't understand that about like the thing about like the Jurassic Park movies, they didn't show it in like that kind of a very specific way, but that was the whole joke of like they went like nothing was working. Like they go on the tour in the cars and A, the dinosaurs don't show up, and like B, like the screens are not working properly and all those things. Like that's the joke. Like I don't know how we're missing the joke. Um but yeah, I just think I know again we like already are off topic to the
I
characters,
know, I'm so
but yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, it's okay. It's totally fine because it still worked out because you were talking about the Altoids. But yeah, again, it's like I just feel like a lot of these criticisms are weird because it's like, okay, but these are very much along the lines of what the franchise has always been at the beginning. So I don't know if like you just forgot that or when you're rewatching the old films, you don't think of it that way because you're like, oh, I know what the movie like I've seen this movie a million times or whatever, and you're just like, oh, I know what happens. But I'm like, do you know what happens actually? Because I feel like Rebirth was just presenting it in a new, fresh way, and people are just like, oh, this is so stupid. I'm like, okay, but it's still presenting the exact same like themes and ideas and all of those things that the original trilogy did. So I don't know. You missed something, apparently.
Oh, it drives me mad.
Hmm.
Um, I I love all the characters. I love Xavier.
Hmm.
I didn't like him initially, and I know that was like, oh God, the idea.
Hmm.
Not a dinosaur. But when he had that campfire scene
Hmm.
with Ruben,
Hmm.
and that's where all the heart kind of comes through. It's like, oh, I hadn't tearing up. That character, he's such a good character.
Hmm.
Like, is he counted as one of the kids in the franchise? Or
Yeah, because they're teenagers.
cool, just double checking because it's like college happening soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
probably one of
say
my
if they're
favorite
I
kids.
honestly the kids are still up until they're like 22, which I know technically
Amazing.
like Laura Dern was like 25 in the movie, but like
We can't go there.
yeah.
No, that's cool. He probably is one of my favorite kids in the franchise. Then
Yeah, I think the thing with Xavier too is just like you were saying like the whole point is for you to kind of dislike him at the beginning, but I don't even think Hugh is that like unlikable like grand scheme of things, right? I think there have been far more unlikable characters, either children or adults in the series, and that goes across all the films and both TV shows. Um and I just think that I honestly think I don't even know his name. The kid in like the older brother in Jurassic World is like way worse than him.
oh my God, I always just call him Love Simon
Yeah, I
because
love
I can
Simon.
never remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Yeah, and that's why I mean I understood like people commenting online being like, "Oh, I hated the boyfriend." I was like, "Yeah, you're supposed to. That's the point." And that's the thing about the brother in Jurassic World is like I don't think you're supposed to hate him. Like I don't. I think you're supposed to like play it off as like, oh, he's just a teenager. But like apparently Xavier doesn't get the same like grace.
Treatment.
Yeah, which
Weird how that one works.
yeah, that's odd how that one works. I have so much commentary about that too. But yeah, no, Xavier was a surprising character. And it's so funny because that actor, it's like I know you don't watch the show, but I do watch The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is like, teenage trash. And his that actor is in that series and he plays like the sweetest character. So to see him kind of play this asshole was so funny to me because I when I heard he was in this movie, I was like, oh, probably cast him because like he plays that like sweet like boy next door type. No, no. And it really worked because he does have like a very kind of baby face in that way. And then like, he was saying all this nonsense, which I thought was so funny. Like again, there's that comedy and he brings a lot of heart, but like it's funny because I think there's so many moments, and we've talked about this before, that when he's like kind of backed against the wall in a way, or like Christ, like he goes into like crisis mode, he does quite well. um when originally like they're on the boat and the mosasaurus and the spinosauruses are like circling and everything and the boat like capsizes, even though he's trapped in there, Ruben is like, you need to get the emergency thing, and he's actively trying to find it, and
Mhm.
does find it. That's the thing, right? Like he does actually get it, and he knows it's important to get it, even if he's not necessarily someone who like has been on a boat a lot or whatever. Like, they introduce him like he doesn't even want to take like his shift at the wheel and everything like that. But in that moment, he listens and he hones in on like, okay, Ruben is telling me that I need to get this thing and it's important, so I'm going to get this thing, and he does get it. And the same thing when Teresa like falls into the water. um he dives after her, but he like takes the floaty with him. Like he doesn't just,
Yes,
stupidly dive in there. Like he has a plan after, like, oh, like, there's still dinosaurs in there. So like maybe we should have some sort of flotation device. And that's just like a thought process of like he doesn't know like if Teresa's gonna be drowning. He doesn't know if, like she's gonna need assistance, but like he knows enough to dive in there with that. Like he doesn't
yes,
just like it's not meant to be a hero moment in that way because it's like most of the time it's a hero moment and like they're not thinking ahead. It's just like, he's actually reacting with a thought process, and whether or not that's because he was picking up on, again, that's an implication that you can make where it's like while on this boating trip, was he actually listening to Ruben the entire time, even though
yes,
he was being like lazy and aloof? Or has Teresa told him before? Because clearly they've gone boating and like, maybe like leading up to the trip, all of these things. So again, all of those things are implied. They don't have to be said to you, and they don't have to actually be in the canon. But what you do see is that he jumps off the boat and he grabs the thing. So he has enough sense to realize the importance of like these survival things, tactic,
mhm,
whatever it is. So it's like that to me, like those two moments were the beginning of like he's not as stupid as the story is trying to present it, and there's obviously more to him. Like those are the clues without the characters, even though then later there's a bit of exposition, like you said, the campfire scene. There is that exposition to kind of solidify that. There's already visual cues from the movie and from the script telling you that he's not just like that stupid.
yes.
So
We mentioned this before, but like my favorite moment of him isn't like a foreground moment. It's that
mm,
bit where they're falling down the hill,
mm-hmm,
and he takes that moment
mm-hmm,
to catch Bella as she falls, and it's such a split second thing,
mm-hmm.
but it's one of my favorite moments in the film.
It's also the
It's
way he in like, yeah, it's meant to be humorous, but it's the way he interacts with Bella in general too. Like there's a lot of interaction between Xavier and Bella, which I actually really liked because it was so funny because when we watched there's, I think like Bella and Teresa act like siblings so much because the way that she acts as like an older sibling is like she asks her dad like, oh, is she gonna be okay? Like she isn't like directly talking to Bella. Like she's there for Bella, but like, you know it is like a true sibling relationship in that sense. Like because I like,
yeah,
as someone who's a younger sibling and who has like an older sister, like I know that too. Like we have a bit of an age difference, so it's like, yes, like when I was young, like I knew she was there and like whatever, but like there were very few moments where she would actually like check in properly as a teenager. Like I recognize that too. so to see like Xavier having kind of even if like Bella's annoyed with him, like Xavier almost has that like older brother vibe to him with Bella, which I really liked. Which means it's like it again, it's like a small thing where it's like he actually like likes her. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like as like a young kid, and it's like he's always like asking her for the licorice or thing. And like you're saying, and then later on, he is the one that like grabs her when they're falling down the thing. And again, those are those small, tiny little things that they're implying. And even like when he makes the joke about like, oh, do you want some weed? Like, yes, he's being kind of ridiculous in that moment, but again, like he's including her in the conversation always. Like he doesn't just like
Yeah.
disregard Bella, which I really, really liked about his character as well. Um, and obviously in general, Ruben, like he when you talk about those character dynamics, he has so much trust in his daughters, and I've said this about it, which was really like refreshing. Like, yeah, he's like the dad, but like he gets injured so early on, and there isn't a moment where he's like, oh no, now my like daughters can't do anything without me. Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't make that
Yeah.
like the whole like what am I going to do now that like I can barely walk or whatever. Like yes, he's still being protective and like yes, he's still trying to look out for them, but he has so much trust, especially in Teresa, to be able to like lead them in that way. And it's again the small things. It's like they say she's going to NYU. Like so it's like, okay, so this daughter's smart. Like that's
Yes.
something. Like she's and B, it's like that they've gone on boating trips before. So they have these skills. Like, but I don't need to see a whole freaking prequel of them like learning how to be on a boat. I don't need to see her in high school like getting all the great like what I mean? But like
A
it's like
valedictorian speech.
yeah, right, right. And it's like they gave all of that so that like when he does get injured, you're like, okay, but they are capable and they can figure out a solution, which also like again leads to that incredible wrath scene because and again I feel just recently we saw the people being like why didn't she in play. I was like, oh my god, this
Oh
is the
my gosh.
reason. Yeah, this is the reason why they put that shot like in the frame of like inflate on land. Like obviously it's going to be a bad situation, she's going to have to inflate it on land and a T-Rex is right there like that, but that's like the point. Like that's the consequence they are now in because it's like what is she going to do, drag this away? She can't drag it away. Like it's clearly heavy, so she's going to inflate it now, put it in the water, and they're going to go, and hopefully the T-Rex doesn't chase them. Obviously that's what happens, but I'm
Yeah.
like, that's the setup. Like it's so dumb that people are like, why wouldn't she? What else is she gonna do? Tell me what the
So
alternative to this situation is.
I actually nosed down that thread a little bit to kind of like see what people were saying, even
Mhm.
though I really didn't like it. One was just like wait for the T-Rex to go. So it's like you would rather wait there on the scene for the T-Rex to wake up and probably get them on land than on the raft. I don't know.
What kind of hope is that? What kind of what if is that? Like, what if the T-Rex wakes up and goes away? What? Then you don't
Would you
have.
rather see that in the film
Yeah, I know, but it's like
than
then
the
you don't
raft
have a
scene?
movie. Don't then you don't have a
Yeah.
movie. That's my point. Like it drives me up the wall. It's like, oh, what if this didn't happen? I'm like, okay, then it's a different movie. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Like
What
they're
if they
yeah
just didn't go to the island?
yeah.
End of roll credits.
No, that's what it feels like. That's what all of these. This is why I feel like I'm being like the entire time. I felt like I'm being gaslit. I was like, "Is this movie bad?" And I was like, "No, it's not. No, it's not." Like, I am very confident that this movie isn't bad. Like, and it's like this is the first time in a while where like usually I'm pretty, like that I love film and like lit analysis and all that. So I'm like pretty confident with my skills. Like I've worked and developed those skills and I continuously work and develop those skills. But there was a second where I was like, maybe
Are
but
we monkey
yeah, it's like, are we dumb? No, no, we're not. Like everyone else is dumb and I should have realized that. Like it was just so stupid. But yeah, like it
Uh,
did like even when people are like, "Oh, she should have done this," I'm like, "What is the alternative? What story do you want to hear?" Like, they even like spelled it out like you can't walk, so we need like a
I
boat.
will
And
say, the first time I saw that film, and I saw like the panning shot, like the shot focusing on the do not inflate in water. I was giggling.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember Andrew was saying she was scared that they were going to make her dumb and that she tries to put it in the water first and then it's a whole struggle. And I was like, no. And then she was like, no, it's because the audience is dumb. I was like, yep, yep, that's
okay.
that's exactly what it is. Like, and then weeks later, we see the same comment.
Oh my God.
It's like, yeah, they actually put that in there.
Yeah.
I also saw like another thing, and this is such a total fair argument. They're like, oh, how did like the T Rex's like teeth not like punctured? I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, because it
How did
didn't.
Ian not die when he got swiped across
Yeah,
20 feet by a T-Rex? Like,
exactly, right. And to me, I was just like, I'm like, if you want to give a real explanation, or like what I my explanation would be is like, listen, if like they're on a dinosaur island, maybe they have a material that's like more resistant to that stuff, and I think that's very reasonable to the to the canon. But
yeah.
also, it's like if you're gonna be scientific about it, T-Rex's teeth weren't sharp. They were like,
No, it's
per-
the bite force, isn't it,
yeah, yeah,
of the jaws.
they're meant for crushing, not for like tearing. So if you're gonna be weird about that,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just likened it to how sharks do test bites when they're
Mhm.
in. That's how I kind of compared it to.
Well, I think that's
But
no, that's such a fair thing because that's such a big part of what the dinosaurs are, how the dinosaurs are presented in this goddamn film is that like they are curious, they're
Mhm.
territorial, and they're not trying to like attack anyone. They're just like, what the fuck are you? They have not interacted with humans in like over a decade. So we're assuming that a lot of these ones like A probably thought they like didn't exist anymore. Or like B, like have never actually seen a human outside of those like the hazmat
That's
suits
that suits.
that they would have
Mhm.
seen them in the facility because there's no implication that they were outside, like if that makes sense, that they weren't like
Yes.
in like cages essentially until
Yeah.
like and then that they've like as like so obviously when the facility like shut down then they were able to like come out of the like test tubes and like shit you know
And
I
free
mean,
roam.
it could be either. It could be either. Like, though, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, it doesn't really matter anyway. The whole point is that, yeah, they haven't interacted with humans in over a decade. So why the hell would they be scared of them? Why would they think they were food? They've been on
Yeah.
this island for X amount of time. Like, they have a food supply because it's a natural habitat. That's what happens in nature when humans don't interfere. Like, circle of life. Like, hello.
Yeah.
On theme, I'm watching The Lion King today. So
I,
yeah.
I was gonna say, nice
I
reference.
didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. That was like totally by accident. Um, but yeah, because like even in the T-Rex scene, like there's a carcass there because like clearly it fed.
They're
So and
fed.
that's also a thing too, because like this is a whole thing about animals in general. If they're full, they're not gonna like eat something again. Like they're not like that. Like they're very, that's like instinctual. They're like they've already fed. That's the reason why like when you do go to zoos or if you go to like man-made safaris, like they put out food there so that like you see the animals more. Like, because and then when they're not, it's just like they just do nothing. They're like not aggressive or whatever because it's like they've already been fed.
Yeah. It's like
So like again,
giving like human characteristics to animals,
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, they're like hunters and they're like bloodthirsty. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I know, when I think that's like a crazy thing too, because it's like I know like one of the commentaries about like the Pratt trilogy is that they really like like were subversive. That is a stretch of the word, but that they were trying to say that like oh all the dinosaurs are dangerous, not just like the carnivores and the herbivores. And I'm like I agree, but there was never an implication that that wasn't the case. If you were watching Jurassic Park and the Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, and you felt that the herbivores were not dangerous as well, then that's on you. Because there was nothing in those movies that ever, like, yes, they were saying like the carnivores are more dangerous, but
Hmm.
there's also, again, it's like they're genetically modified to be scarier. Like that was kind of the point again.
Yeah.
And again
It's like,
in your canon of the Pratt trilogy, oh, people aren't scared of dinosaurs anymore. Like, so what
yeah.
are you complaining? This is I can like debunk every single thing that everyone was criticizing with actual like receipts from the Pratt trilogy, which bothers me to be like, no, this is in line with the canon that you apparently like. So
That can be in another episode.
no, it literally can because it drives me up the wall that people are like, I'm mad about this thing. I'm like, okay, but this is why it happened because of this. And it's usually Claire. But like not always, but like it is really
Most
like
of the
this
time.
is the reason, right? So it to suddenly be picky about that is very weird to me because you weren't
Hmm.
picky about it before, but it's just because this thing is the thing that you don't like. So it's like
Yeah.
if you want to be picky about it, then you have to be picky about it in the entire franchise.
And that's something like I think we've always tried to be objective about, no matter how much we love the Jurassic Park trilogy.
Hmm.
Anything that we criticize about Jurassic World, we apply to the same.
Hmm. I don't. It's a
Yeah.
franchise, so like
Yeah.
if you're gonna be picky about it in one film, then you have to be picky about it in like the others because these things happen, like they reoccur quite a bit, and it's again like there is that big thing of like oh like Henry's like a paleontologist and isn't like using terms. I'm like I don't give a shit. Neither did
Yeah.
Alan. I was like, do you think these fucking mercenaries give a shit? Like if he's being scientifically correct? No, I don't.
Like it's not that deep in
Yeah,
that scenario.
in that sense, it's really not that deep, and I think it's something odd to kind of you know
Want to
because
be
even
nitpicky about now.
yeah yeah, and even like because I know like there's a whole thing of in the 1990s like where the current research is, and then
Mm.
in now in 2025 where the current research is, and I'm like yeah, but like also like there's a lot of things even within the past like 5-10 years if you're gonna be scientific about it that they keep like debating. Like they keep debating
Yeah.
if the Spinosaurus is even real. Like that is a
Yeah.
real debate that is like happens in the like paleo world because they're like the fossils are like oh my god I'm like sounding like a loser. No, I'm like I'm not
No.
I don't think paleontologists are a loser, but it's just like if you're gonna be like that, then like you can't. Like the whole point is that we still don't know 100% about these animals because they like lived like millions of years ago, and that's what's so cool is that
Yeah.
people are constantly researching them. But
And
canon wise, like if you're looking at this franchise, like if they're now existing in the world, people would stop researching them in that way. I just want to put that out there of why that is a canon thing of like, oh, people are like not interested in dinosaurs anymore. I'm like, yes, in universe, in universe.
specifically in the universe, we love them. The universe don't. They say this in Jurassic Park 3.
They say this in like, yeah,
I
in
mean,
3. Alan says it, right?
yeah, in the
All of his student in
lecture
the
in the beginning.
lecture because they're like he's talking about the fossils and they're just like, well, tell us about the islands, and he's like, okay.
Yeah. And then it's kind of further reinforced by Claire in Jurassic World in like her opening. The first time you meet her, she's
Mm-hmm.
talking to investors. It's like
Mm-hmm.
people don't care about dinosaurs anymore.
You know, it is what it is. But
Uh,
yeah, again, we kind of tangent off, which I figured this was
yeah,
gonna happen.
we yeah we can't control it.
Yeah, but I think yeah, I guess we've only really talked about the family, and then we technically haven't talked about the main three characters. We sort of started talking about Zora, but I think okay, here's the thing about the three main characters. It's like I don't think there's not in a bad way, but I don't think there's much to say about them because I think the movie like really does it for you.
Yeah,
So if you feel like, oh, you didn't know much about them, I was like, I don't know what else you need to know about them for this movie. This is where like fandom has like ruined everyone. They're like, I need to know like every single detail about this
we need to know
character.
where they grew up, what their favorite meal is.
What's their coffee order, which I love, don't get me
Do
wrong.
they
Like,
do they like Taylor Swift?
yeah,
Also,
exactly.
again, very important.
Yeah,
Not in the movie
exactly.
though.
Yeah, but it's like is that stuff is so like not relevant. It's like Zora's character is like you know what her arc is going to be. Like clearly she's done this job. It's taken a toll on her, whether it's shady or not is unimportant to this actual thing. Like you're bringing in like anyway, just I'm not even going to comment on that because it's stupid and there's like a whole like industry about that. Anyway,
Mhm.
uh just to say it out there, military entertainment complex, that's all I got to say. Uh, um, but it's just like the actions of what she has how she has been living her life has dictated the way that she feels right now, which is a very normal thing for characters to do. That is kind of how stories work. Um, and you can see because like she has those conversations with Duncan and she talks about like losing people and how that has like traumatized her. And it's not even necessarily like the previous job, which is what she's saying is like, oh, maybe I have PTSD from that. It's like a buildup of everything. It's like everything she's done has like brought her to this headspace of like, do I want to lose more people that are important to me? And
Yeah, because
do I
like
want,
she
yeah,
lost her mom.
yeah. And do I want to continue to do things that are unimportant to other people? Like, do I want to be selfish? Like that's the character arc. I don't I don't like it's like she's selfish and she recognizes that like she needs to not be. It's pretty
Yeah,
simple. Like because it's like her being selfish is the why she like, you know, missed her mom's funeral.
yeah.
Like and then like at the end she's like doesn't want to lose Duncan. Like it I don't know. And then like obviously makes the choice of like let's give the DNA samples to like the rest of the world. Like that's it's so like point A, point B, like that's the character arc. And like again, same thing with Duncan. It's like you get it. He lost his kid. He has trauma around it. It ruined his marriage or whatever. Like you don't need to know the extreme details. You don't need to know if his kid like died by disease. You don't need to know if his kid died by dinosaur and they could have like saved him. It doesn't matter. It's like it has affected him in a way. And then it comes to the end where he's like, I'm making this sacrifice. And it's just like, you don't need him to have an emotional connection to these kids either. It doesn't matter. It's because it's like his emotional connection is the fact that like he lost his son. So he doesn't
Mhm.
want a father to lose their kids too. Like hello? I don't know. I don't like to me I was just like what's happening guys?
Oh,
Like the movie is pretty clear cut.
it
And
really is.
Duncan is so cool for what he did. Like his entire ending. Also, they hint at how he's in a save. He's literally like, I hate the jungle. I'm not going to die in the jungle if you want to get away from it when you go underwater. Guess what he did? It doesn't matter if you saw him do it. It just happened,
Because
guys.
like you kind of you can infer it. That's what
Yeah.
foreshadowing does.
Yeah. And again, it's like,
It's
yeah, you don't really need to see it because it's like, it's not actually important. I know so many people have complained about, like, oh, they didn't show how he survived. I was like, why does it matter? Does showing how he survived change the fact that he survived? No. It just shows you what
oh,
happened.
yeah. It was the same with I'm gonna forget his name in Jurassic Park 3.
Billy?
Yes, with him and the
The pterodons?
everything. Yes, I was
Yeah.
gonna say pterodactyl, but that's not right.
No,
Yeah,
they are
you
pterodactyls and they
are
are.
they? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that whole thing, you don't see how he survives, and he's just there in a helicopter, just thumbs up.
Yeah.
Got your hat.
I mean,
Got your hat.
you watched like Henry fall from like a fucking cliffside into water and just somehow survive it. So you can't infer that like Duncan like can figure this out. Like it's so crazy to me that like that's bothering people because then if you do show how he survives, then you're gonna be like, well, that was impossible. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like you're gonna be
One.
like, that was ridiculous. Like, how did he even survive that? Whether you show it or not. It's like it doesn't matter. Like and also, but like to talk about that, to talk about the D-Rex as a whole thing, again, the D-Rex is like territorial and it's curious. When it bites the helicopter, it's like, this is not food, and throws it away. Like, it's actually really funny. And it's also moves very slowly, like, very slowly. Like, it cannot move fast. I've been playing Jurassic World Alive. That D Rex is way more intense in the game than it actually
No,
is
it's
in the,
terrifying.
in
I,
the
I
movie.
fought it. I fought it the other day, and I was like, okay, don't like. I like the movie you better.
Yeah, seriously. But that's what I mean. But that's the problem. Like, which I think is actually kind of funny because, like, obviously we're playing Jurassic World Alive and like it's just for funsies. But like, you can tell that that game is so built on the Jurassic World trilogy because A, they're having
Hmm.
them fight, and like B, like the ferocity of the characters is like into. And then they also do this thing where like herbivores are also like really strong. Like, it's so funny that the makeup of the Jurassic World trilogy is so embedded in the game, and I'm like, this is bothering me so much.
Yeah, we haven't like unpacked like all the extra stuff yet.
Yeah,
That's like an interesting
because now we're
conversation for
just like,
later.
yeah, because now we're just we're just having fun with it, so it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
yeah, like introducing the freaking the D-Rex in there, like it's like terrifying, and I was like, this is
It,
not what it's like in the movie at all, like at all. Like,
no, in the movie, I only cried the second time I was watching it try to walk and the flinching of its feet when he was making steps. Like, oh, I
mhm.
love you.
Yeah, and just also just the idea that it didn't leave the space.
Hmm.
Like it didn't know it, and also if it's the only one of its kind, that's like sad, like for species in general, right? So
Hmm.
what's it gonna do? Like we don't even know, like you don't even know if it can like communicate with anything,
No, true.
right? So like you don't even know if it's hunting. Like honestly, based on like the way that it again like ate the helicopter and was like, this isn't food, like to me it implies that like the D-Rex is more of a scavenger. Like it just kind of is like, oh, this is food. I can eat it.
Yeah,
Again, there's no I have no basis for that other than what we've seen. But
doesn't make sense because it. How can it hunt?
yeah, it can't. It's so fucking slow.
Like,
Like,
unless
and I
it's
don't mean
waiting
that.
for
I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, it is.
it's big, it's loud, it's slow.
Mhm.
Unless food literally flies into its mouth,
Yeah,
it's gonna scavenge.
yeah. Um, and then yeah, I don't know. Like people also complained that it was like, oh, like nothing really happened. I was like, no, something happened. You just didn't like what happened. There's a difference. Like, oh, so easy. I was like, yeah, you wanted like the T-Rex to come and save the day. We get it.
Mhm.
Sorry. Baloo's not here anymore to save the day.
Oh, or the motorcycle jumping out at the last second
Yeah. Oh
to
my
eat
God.
him
Oh
up.
my God. You know what's so
Mm,
like so crazy is like I do remember watching that like in theaters, and like that final scene between the Indominus and the T-Rex and then the Mosasaur just coming out of nowhere. I was like, you've lost me. Like I was just like, I don't care at all. Like
uh,
I was like, I guess that's fun. That's cool, I guess, but it
I
is
think
what
I
it
was
is.
fine until the motorcycle popped. When the motorcycle popped, I was like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just like cool, I guess. Um, and then I just want, since we're kind of like talking about the dinosaurs, I do want to talk about that like Titanosaur scene, which is
Oh,
honestly I
so
cried
beautiful.
I cried the second time around. Like I didn't cry the first time, even though like the nostalgia with the like soundtrack and everything hit.
Mm,
But I think like the second time I did because again I was really thinking about how much like the more I thought about the movie, the more I really loved it. And the more I thought about like the Titanosaur scene, I like really loved it because it was so good, and it really restored that wonder and awe. And it did make me feel like a kid again, like watching the first one. And it's like it is that nostalgia, but it's not even just the nostalgia for the film. It is that feeling of like, oh man, dinosaurs are so cool. And
so
it's like it's the reason why like if I go to museums, like I still love going to like the dinosaur section. Like I love seeing the same fossils over and over and over again. It's like so cool. Yeah. Because we, we're lucky enough to have a museum here that does have like a dinosaur section, and
yeah.
like it's like one of my favorite. I remember when I first moved back to Toronto, and it was like my birthday, and I was like, I want to go to the museum. I want to see the dinosaurs. Like, like to it's always just been a part of it, and honestly, like again, and I think we talked about this like in the first episode. Like both of us have always loved the Jurassic franchise, but like getting to watch Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory just really like renewed that and actually made us excited for Rebirth. So
Very real.
because like there were so many things working against Rebirth that I was like, look, I just got rid of Chris Pratt. Now you're putting Scarlett Johansson in here, so I don't know what you want me to do. um, but yeah, and then I think just Rebirth on its own just stands alone so well. Like I could see myself like popping that on like at home when I'm like,
Just
oh,
a casual watch, yeah.
yeah, for sure. And like I want to rewatch it so many times because it's like there's still so many things. I hope the like DVD or the Blu-ray has like such amazing behind the scenes stuff because I want to watch all that stuff. I hope it has a commentary. Oh, commentaries. Like
Oh,
yeah, like
a
a
full
full
cast commentary,
yeah. Oh
amazing.
my God, a cast commentary would be glorious. So yeah,
A
I really
director's
hope.
commentary would be great as well, though.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'd love to hear those thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I think like I guess, oh my God, there's still so much. I feel like we're gonna have to do this in like 2 episodes. Like we should have just done like one episode of like the characters, one episode of like the music, because I think I want to talk about the score, but I think actually I don't know if you're okay with this, but I think now that I actually have the soundtrack, I do want to go through it kind of detail by detail. Like not on an episode, but I want to
Immediately, yes.
yeah, but I want to actually go through it because I've been listening to it lately and I do want to actually do just like an episode of just the score for Rebirth because I think there's some brilliant stuff in there that
I am so happy to do that. You know
okay,
my
okay,
feelings for the
cool.
score already.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I was like, oh, like we could be talking about it here, but I feel like we're doing it a disservice if we don't do a real full
Its own thing.
episode. Yeah. So, okay, we'll plan to do that then. Because I think there again, I've been listening to it. I'm like, ooh, there is some lovely
You'll keep
stuff in.
it.
Um, and I think also that again, the Film Bros podcast really made me think about some of the other music cues, like the ones from Jaws and the ones from other Spielberg films. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I need to listen to this with those lens. I need to listen to with those lenses. Does that make sense? But like, um,
Those headphones.
yeah, with it, yeah, and because I think there is a lot, and because now when I was listening to it, I was like, I hear E.T. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can hear like a lot of John Williams in there, much more than I thought there was. So, and there's a lot of manipulation of the original themes of how they use it in
Yes.
I do want to actually take the time to kind of really listen to it. So we're gonna pause on the score talk because I think it's worth talking about. And I know you'd be like excited to talk about that anyway. So
I'm literally like shaking right now.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so excited.
But yeah, so I guess like I don't know, like is there anything else that you either than the score that you want to kind of talk about, or is there that
The book references to
yeah,
Lost World.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
know we already have the obvious one with Jurassic Park with the raft scene,
Hmm.
but like I read Lost World the day before I went to see it,
I know. So it was
and
fresh
I'm
in your mind. I
so
I admittedly have
glad
not read it in a while, so
because my whole motivation was when we were doing our first episode, you mentioned in the trailer of the gas station scene.
hmm
So it was in my head, I was like, oh shit, I need to read the book before I see
hmm
the film.
yeah,
And then it ended up being the day before. I was like, oh shit, I've got to read it now. So obviously the Snickers wrapper,
yeah.
outside of everything, it's a really cool little reference to,
Hmm.
and
The
I
chocolate
can't remember
bar,
the character's name,
yeah,
the chocolate bar in the
to get the
watchtower.
raptors, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like the whole reason why that whole conflict happens in the book.
Hmm.
I should have brought up the character's names while I was talking
It's
about this
also
as
it.
well.
It's not even just like the Lost World. It's just like such a reference to Nedry too. Like you had that in the
Yes.
like he has like a really messy desk and like how does anyone work with like all of this mess? Like again, like that stuff is there. So like
Mhm.
yes, it makes sense to me that someone would be as like nonchalant about eating a candy bar wrapper in this fucking facility, actually.
Yeah. It's like as somebody who works in like an office space, this type of shit happens all the time.
Literally. And that's what I said this about too. It's like if you have never seen like a piece of garbage wreck something, then you've not worked in like a space that is like even a multi-million dollar company because those things wreck stuff all the time. It's like why did doors break? It's like oh like a kid's like whatever got jammed in it. Because a kid like literally jammed something in,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's just like that happens all the time.
One of
Like
the doors in my building, it's automatic, and they've had to put like 5 different signs of saying, "Do not touch this door. It opens automatically."
mhm.
Because every time somebody tries to push it open, it breaks.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like
Yeah.
it's a whole thing.
Yeah. It's just
But
no, it's true.
sure,
But yeah, Lost World, like I the movie is much closer to the Lost World, I think, thematically and just kind of like yes, it does do the structural beats of Jurassic Park, but it feels more like a Lost World movie.
yes.
Um,
And it's like with the again, like you mentioned, the whole gas station scene,
hmm
even the whole part of them going into the tunnels,
hmm
it's from the book.
Yep.
I'd even say, and I know I said this to you already, but the electric-ish Jeep hybrid they've got going on,
Yeah.
and then hiding like Zora hiding underneath it
Yeah.
with Craig.
Yeah.
Again, from the book.
Yeah. It's a lot of it's from the book and a lot of it like you can tell that David kept like and he said that he rewatched everything and that he reread the book. I was like, yeah, you can tell.
It shows.
It shows because he's making these references that like if you know you know, but like even if you don't know they're exciting because they were exciting in the movies and they were exciting in the books. So they're going to be exciting on screen. um and yeah, like there's just oh god, there's so much to unpack about it again. Like I think there's just it's just one of those movies where there's it's a movie if you like Spielberg films, one, but if you just like films in general, because you can like pick apart shot composition, you can pick apart the score, you can pick apart the writing, the CG, like all of those things. It just feels like one of those films that put a true effort in the mixing of CG with like the real on like they were shooting on site on location.
Mhm.
That's the word I'm looking for. Um and it just made it work so well. And I always say this about Jurassic Park that it never makes sense to me that you can watch that movie and it came out in 1993 and the CG looks so good. And that's because they used practical effects for majority of it. So I don't know, like I thought the CG was very, very good for this film. There's a few parts where it's like a little iffy, but like not enough to take you out. Not enough to be like,
No,
okay, like this is too much CG. It's just enough where you can see like, yeah, they use it. I was like, did you not have enough budget anymore at this point? Or like I always think about Tron Legacy when I think about like not having enough
oh my
budget for
God,
CG.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, which is crazy now considering like we've seen what AI can do and like deepfakes and stuff. So like for that to look as bad as it did, is
And that
pretty
came
funny.
in like what, 2010?
Mm-hmm.
2000, yeah, 2010.
Something like that.
Which one Legacy?
Yeah, it's but otherwise, the CG is pretty good. Uh, but yeah, so um, it yeah, Lost World. We were trying to talk about the Lost World references, and yes, it is very much from the books. Um, so uh funnily enough, as we're recording this, apparently it did release Rebirth did release on digital today. I knew it was supposed to be this week, but I think it's only in the States. So
Oh, of course.
yeah. Yeah. But there's a deleted scenes, which is very exciting. I'm excited to see them. And apparently an alternate opening. Which I think is hilarious because I know there's a lot of people that were like, they didn't explain much about the T-Rex and the island. Like, not that it matters, but there's a reason. So if they filmed it, they were like, this doesn't matter, basically. I think that's always so funny when it comes to deleted scenes because there's a difference between having deleted scenes and having like an extended cut or like a director's cut because
Hmm.
people seem to think that like a director's cut is just like literally putting the deleted scenes like in there and I'm like that's not it at all.
Like Blade Runner is like the most obvious example.
Yeah. Yeah. Deleted scenes are not deleted scenes more often than not are like part of a scene that's already there. It's not like a completely like there's some that are like a completely alternative like a different scene that like never takes place in the movie, but usually it's like the end bit of like a longer scene or like the beginning of it and usually it doesn't do much and that's why they're deleted guys like
Nice.
I always hate when like deleted scenes come out and people are like oh they should have put this in the movie and I'm like yeah but like it didn't really do anything.
Something like,
I was like it's different if you're watching like a proper director's cut like a director's cut is like edited like differently too. So, anyway, but yeah, like I think again I keep there's so many tangents for this, but I think it's I think it is important to recognize the Lost World references because that kind of also is setting the tone of what Rebirth was meant to be, which was like it's not exactly Jurassic Park, but it's in the realm of Jurassic Park and it's definitely like a sequel to Jurassic Park in that sense. And,
Absolutely.
Lost World was such a odd thing because like Lost World only really happened because of Jurassic Park's like movie success. And they were like, "Hey, can you write another book?" And he was like, "I guess." And
Mm.
then, like Ian
Like
Malcolm,
that's a flex because
yeah, yeah,
like he never really wrote sequels, and
hmm
just like, please, it
yeah.
does a lot.
That being said, too, like with when it comes to sequels, like I another criticism I read online is that like this movie didn't set up a sequel. It's like why does it
Mm.
have to?
Like
Yeah, it's I don't think like even when I watched Jurassic World, like Chris Pratt Jurassic World, I didn't think it set up a sequel. Maybe it did. I don't.
it, I don't think it did.
Not that movie. Like Fallen Kingdom does 100%
Yes,
because they're like, here's the dinosaurs out in the world. Um, but I think that like that one wasn't trying to have a sequel because it was just like, oh, what if people hate it because it's like they love Jurassic Park so much and then they just don't really like this like sequel that came out like 20 years later, 30 years later almost. Um,
yeah,
so I don't think I think if they make another Jurassic World movie, I don't necessarily think it needs these characters again. Um,
no,
because I don't see like the Ian Malcolm thing, like that made sense to me when they carried,
yes,
well, first of all, he's like resurrected from the dead, in the books. But like at least in like movie wise it made sense because he never dies in the movie, like he technically dies in the book, but then they're like, oh, guess lol he's not.
guys.
Yeah, surprise. But it does make sense that like how they set that up to have him as like the main character. But this one I'm just like, there's no reason to set. I could see them doing it again, like, it's a studio cash grab, whatever you want to call it. Again, I'm not denying that Jurassic World Rebirth is like a cash grab. Like obviously it's made, we were looking at the numbers, it's made like 700, like over 100 720 million in the box office. Again, not that the box office matters. I don't give a shit about box office numbers, but studios care about those numbers, and that's what allows them to make more movies, etc.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that measures how good a movie is, but um, I could see them bringing these characters back for those reasons, and I'm just like, but maybe you don't need to.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely more stories that you can always do in this franchise, but I also like would not be upset if they like finish off the franchise with this movie and finish off Chaos Theory, like the animated shows with the last season of Chaos Theory. Like I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, they should make like a tie-in with Rebirth. I'm like, should they?
I'm
I
kind of like on the fence with it because like I love those characters so much, but at the same
mhm.
time, let it end organically. Like
Yeah.
it's
I,
tied into the Jurassic World trilogy.
and the Jurassic World trilogy's over, so
Uh,
I just think I think this is a good place for the franchise to end. And I think if you're gonna expand the franchise, do it in like video game form again, or like do it in like a different medium. Like I don't, and this is as someone who's such a big fan, it's like I don't necessarily think we need another movie. Will we get one? Most likely, yes. Like
yeah,
honestly, with that amount of money that it's made,
it's likely, and with how many toys they make and how many they sell, like
yeah. That actually, what, I'm just gonna like before we wrap up, I'm just gonna do a small comment on it. I have to say, the marketing budget for this movie was incredible. And I
oh,
really appreciate the very old school marketing that they went, which was like toys, food, like grocery stores, and then like like across seas, they did like not across seas, but even in the States, like they had like dinosaurs in New York. They had them like
yeah,
in California. All of their 7-Elevens had those like big Spinosaurus displays and
they
stuff.
look
Like,
so cool.
yeah, and I'm like, that's really cool. Like, I'm glad that, they decided that that was something that they wanted to do, and it was like big. And I remember like in the 90s and 2000s they don't do promo campaigns as intense as that anymore, so it was fun to kind of see that again. I know it's like very capitalism, so like I'm not being like yay capitalism, but like
Yeah.
I think just as a fan it was fun to see stuff on cereal boxes and to see them on like Coke cans or like Dr. Pepper, like whatever, and
Oh,
just
the Dr. Pepper cans. I'm so
add
mad I can't get them.
yeah, and just to see like big ads and like interactive stuff again, and like they just don't do that. That was what I was saying like in Toronto, and I know it happened in the States when the new Final Destination film came out. They had like a log truck as like
Yes,
the advertisement. I was like genius.
that is
Like
cool.
I was like that's the type of stuff, and again that's Universal, I think. I can't remember if
Mm,
Final Destination's Universal. Either way, doesn't really matter. But I think it just really brought that like it's fun to go to the movies vibe
yes.
back, and that's the biggest thing. It's just like I had so much fun watching the movie. I'm sorry that people like hated it. I'm sorry you don't like fun. Like it was fun. And like
Yeah,
and if you want a deep dive, there's like so much stuff there too, but it was just generally a fun movie to watch. And like I very much enjoyed watching it. So um and I don't agree with the pacing issues of it, but that's me thing. Like I can see why people think the pacing's a bit off, and so I'm not gonna like really drag them for that because I'm just like, okay, like if the pacing of the movie isn't for you, then it isn't for you. Like I can see why like being very dialogue heavy in a in like an action film is feels slow. Like so it's I don't think it's necessarily a valid criticism, but I can see why people think that. And so I'm not like overly mad about it. I was just like it personally didn't bother me. I thought it was like just the right amount before like the action started to pick up.
yeah. When it comes to pacing, for the most part, really, really bad pacing
Hmm.
points to the Dominion.
Hmm.
But again, that's just I'm on the same page with you. Like that's just a me thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
take anything away.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like some movies, like everyone can collectively agree that like the pacing is bad in a movie sometimes, and that is a problem that a lot of movies face. I just feel like with Rebirth, I think it's just more like what people's expectations. It's like expectation versus reality. I think that a lot of that
Yes.
is why there's so much negative reaction to this movie because there's an expectation of what this movie was and what they wanted it to be, and it wasn't any of that. So then they like equivocate that to being bad, and I don't think that's fair
Yeah.
because you have to look at the movie as it is and not what you want it to be. So, and I just wanted it to
I
not
think
be
it's
Jurassic
interesting because
Worlds, and it wasn't
yeah,
bad.
and we could succeeded.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that like when it comes to the expectations versus reality, it kind of falls in line with what we've seen with 28 years later.
Hmm. This was a great movie, by the way. Like, fantastic. I think my
Amazing.
favorite of
But
that
I,
franchise,
I
honestly.
absolutely. But I saw a lot of the same criticisms then, where it was clear that people were going into it expecting one thing and it
Hmm.
didn't match up, so now it's automatically a bad movie.
Hmm.
So I found that like an interesting thing of like the two most recent films I've seen in the cinemas this year both have the same kind of
I think it's hard
criticism against it.
with franchise films. It's hard, right? Especially like with Rebirth, it's the
Mm.
seventh movie, so I understand there being an
Yeah.
expectation. So I'm not like again, I'm not. I say this with no judgment in the sense of like how I feel about Jurassic World movies, but if you like the Chris Pratt trilogy, you are not going to like this movie. And it's just because structurally it is so different to what those movies are. And thematically it is very different from what those movies are. So it's so if that was your thing and you really love them, you're just like not going to like this one. It's just I think to me
Yeah.
that's very obvious. Um Going into it, it was very much I was like, well, anything could be better than these movies. But then I was like, I really thought about it, I was like, actually, like, we could have gone worse. We really could have. Um, but I think it was going to be very easy for me to enjoy um a Jurassic film that wasn't like those ones, like just fundamentally.
Absolutely.
But because this was so, to me, like so much more in line with the original films, I was like, yeah, like there's a reason why I like the original films. And it's like, this is there. Like, this feels like you, I don't even want to say like this feels like you could cut out the rest of the films, like, because you can't, because it very much is still in line with the canon and what has been established. It's just a direction that a lot of people may have not wanted, essentially. Um,
Yeah.
but it doesn't disregard anything. Like, the crazy thing is how much people are like, oh, this disregards. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like, it really doesn't. It just goes in a place that you don't like. Um, and that could be very much explained of why the dinosaurs are dying out.
Yeah.
Especially like there's so many climate changes that happen in our real world. Like, is like, do people bring in our own universe into this completely different universe? But like, if you're gonna go along the lines of that, like, yeah, I even talk about like, people have been like, oh, but like dinosaurs could live in like cold places. I'm like, not negative like fucking 40. Like, they weren't living in those conditions again. Like, I was like, the coldest it was on the earth was like 15 degrees, like in like the areas that they lived in. And
Yeah.
actually,
Like that.
like, yeah,
I have to like I know you like I haven't like had a chat about it, but like the dinosaurs' coldest weather was like a mild summer day in the UK by those
exactly.
standards.
Yeah. So, because, oh God, I don't even want to get into the science of it, but like, it's just like, it just logically doesn't make any sense. Like, what people are like mad about. I was like, yeah, we know they're warm blooded. Like, so they needed, they could be in cold and warm areas, like, but they weren't as cold. Like, humans are warm blooded. You think we don't need a coat? Like, yeah, like if that's like your like thought process behind that, it's like, we're not going to survive out in like -20 weather without like a winter coat
Hmm.
or like some heating source. Like, that's why it just bothers me that like people want to bring that stuff in. It's like, oh, like it doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, you're the one who is making it matter, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Like
and it
it's
it
very much
also,
like grasping at straws, isn't it?
yeah, and it also doesn't matter if like you agree with it or not. This is what happened in the storyline. This is what they're telling you happened in the storyline, so you have to just accept that.
Yeah.
And very much again, like, you just want a different movie. You wanted to watch a different movie, and that's on you. So you're never gonna like it because you wanted something else. You wanted to see dinosaurs in the real world, and this movie said, I don't want to. So, and honestly, like, I think there was that interview with like David Kep where he was saying like, they expanded the universe and like dinosaurs are everywhere, and he was like, I don't know what I wanted. I don't know what to do with that. And I was like, I agree, because you could just do anything and then make it like, try to make it make sense in there. And
Yeah.
so,
Like I think he so I think he said it himself that you can do so much more of a story when you give it restrictions.
yeah.
It's like why there's when you're doing world building, you have to implement rules within it.
Hmm.
Like with fantasy novels, there's rules around how magic works because the second you break those rules, everything becomes pointless.
Yeah. And I think like that's the thing about the Jurassic World trilogy. It got away from them. Like, it actually got away from them. I see what they were like. That's the thing, is like, even objectively, I can see what they were trying to do. Like, I'm not disregarding what they were trying to do. I just think they didn't know what to do with that, because they made it so big that they were like, oh. And I know like Colin Trevorrow had said that like he wanted to make the universe so big that whoever takes over for it can do whatever they want with it. But I'm like, how does that help?
Yeah.
That's like someone saying like, write an essay and like not give you a prompt. Like, where are you supposed to start? Because now like the slate that you have is like, dinosaurs exist in the world. Like, okay. Like,
Like,
so what? Like, you're gonna go with like, humans hate them, humans like them, humans want to hunt them, humans want to put them in zoo. Like, how do you even like focus your story at that point? And I think that's
yeah.
like, that's such a crazy thing too, because I feel like what chaos theory does so well, when like that show is that it focuses on like one point that was given and a point that was barely examined in the movie, and like they did give themselves the limitation. They like actually limited themselves, like here's this giant world that's set,
Hmm.
like, and now we have our show set in that giant world, and they limited themselves to like Santos and the underground, and that's what they decided was going to be their like focus. And that is the same sort of like storytelling where it's just like you actually give yourself limitations to
Hmm.
write a better story. And that's why the show is so good, because it, even though it knows dinosaurs are like in the rest of the world, it's not talking about dinosaurs in the rest of the world. It's talking about dinosaurs in this particular like scenario. So that's why I think it's weird that people like love that show and then like hate Rebirth because it's doing the same thing.
Very
like
much.
I don't know what to tell you, but Count Cretaceous and Chaos Theory actively kind of hate the Jurassic World movies, like whether they know it or not. Like the way they write them is almost in spite of them.
Absolutely, very much.
Um, and is almost kind of cheeky about it. And I think Rebirth took that extra step to be very cheeky about it, about like poking fun at like making bigger dinosaurs. Because I think like that's the wild thing about Chaos Theory now is, you know what they've never mentioned? The Indoraptor. Like they just were like,
No, you're right. I didn't
yeah,
think about that.
mm-hmm. Like they obviously had the Scorpius in Camp Cretaceous, but Camp Cretaceous also takes place in Hong Kong. They've mentioned the Lockwood Manors. They've never mentioned the Indoraptor at this point because it's like
No.
it's not about that. Like they made the like new baryonyx, but it was like brief. So
Yes.
and it wasn't a hybrid either. Like it was like a natural like evolution. Like that's what they decided to kind of like go with. Anyway, sorry, that's a whole other thing. But I just my point is that Rebirth really like closed the story again, made it focused on a very specific thing that had happened, and also kind of poked fun at making hybrids and being like, you know what, they were making them before, they were a mistake then. So the fact that they tried to do it again and perfect it, it to me enhances what happened in the Jurassic World trilogy, which I don't even like, but I feel like it adds so much to it to know that like they made the D-Rex, they fucked up. And it's not that they fucked up with the D-Rex. I mean, they did. Like, you look at
The,
it and they fucked up. But, like,
oh,
the only reason they stopped was because, like, the facility broke. And that to me is so in line with them being like, okay, let's try this again.
yeah.
Like,
And then we had a conversation about it because I asked you like what were your theories about like when did Wu come back into
mm-hmm,
the conversation like and I think the movie does a really good job of like giving you those questions of well why did this happen? Why wasn't Wu involved? When did he get back involved to make Dominus and Scorpius?
yeah. Also, then I had to like timeline check because the
Oh my
stupid
God, yes.
yeah, the stupid summary of the movie was like, oh, this is 5 years after the events of Dominion. I was like, no, it's not. Because I was like, you like the summary did not match up with the actual timeline within it because again, it said 32 years after dinosaurs were reintroduced. So it's meaning from Jurassic Park.
Yes.
So yeah, because it's
Its own
not,
summary kind of fucked us up a little bit.
yeah, because they said like 32 years have passed since the dinosaurs have been reintroduced to mankind, which would have been 1993. And then the D-Rex was 17 years from that. So it's like 2008, 2007-ish, whatever. Anyway, I did the math. Um,
Yes, we did.
and the official summary of the movie, which is meant to be a promo summary, but this happens. This does happen in marketing. So I'm not even like that mad about it because there's so many times where like marketing will reveal something that like isn't actually in the movie because like when they get their marketing budget and they get like the timeline for what they need to like you have to make these things in pre-production before the movie comes out. So it's like
Mhm.
you can't just change them like suddenly. So there's a lot of time, like for example, we saw so many pictures of the raptors and they like barely showed up, and now we're seeing like the raptor scene is like a deleted scene, right? So like that happens. And so I'm
I was
not,
going to mention for those kind of things, the Goonies trailer
yeah,
originally. the whole giant squid.
Yeah.
And then that whole segment is just cut out the movie, but
Hmm.
they still reference the giant squid at the end.
Yeah.
And I can remember being a kid and being like, "What the fuck?"
Hmm. It just happens. And then
Yeah,
like there's companies like Disney that like purposely make scenes for trailers that are not meant to be in the movie. Like they will legitimately film or animate things that are not in the movie, like for marketing purposes. So it's just like that's why it's like I'm not mad about these things. I'm just like
mm,
it's just one of those things that happen, but then like everyone, this is why I say I'm like, do not take anything external from the actual movie as canon. Like whether it's marketing, interviews, like it doesn't matter because also a lot of like writers or directors will be referencing something that they may have done but like didn't actually make it in the final product.
yes,
Because usually, more often than not, at least with the directors when they're doing interviews, it's like they're probably one of the only people at that point when they're doing promo who have actually seen the whole movie. Because sometimes with interviews, they'll be like, oh, I'm seeing it at the premiere, like at X whatever, or we like just saw the movie, but like they're referencing what they filmed, like which is completely different to what could have or like what was in the script and things like that. And a lot of people don't get that about filmmaking is that like when there's a promo tour after, it's like they made this movie like 2 years ago or whatever X amount of time it is. Like what they're talking about is not necessarily like you can't like take it as law, basically.
yeah.
So yes, that if and if you guys want to fact check me, that's fine, but it is an error. It is an error saying that Dominion takes place in 2027 because or not Dominion, sorry, Rebirth takes place in
Okay.
2027 because Dominion took place in 2022. It's not that at all. It is a mistake. So, sorry. Sorry to burst your bubble. But yeah, that weird 5 year promo tagline that they had for the movie is incorrect because the movie itself tells you when everything takes place. It is what it is. You have to watch the movie. You actually have to pay
Yeah,
attention.
go watch it again. Hate it more.
Yeah, hate it more. Exactly. I people have watched it multiple times and they hate it the first time. I'm like, could not be me. I was like, I will never rewatch the Jurassic World movies. I only rewatch them so I could like remember everything going into this. Now I'm just like, I don't need to ever again.
No, I might do a rewatch one day just to kind of get some
Yeah.
notes of things, but I only watched them back in April, and that was like genuinely a whole day thing, and I
Hmm.
can't do it again right now.
Yeah. I mean, I will rewatch Jurassic Park all the time. I don't even rewatch Lost World or Jurassic Park 3 that often. Like, and it's not
No,
even like that I don't like them. I just feel like I need to be more in the mood for them. And then, but I'm always in the mood to watch Jurassic Park. Like, I'll put that on
yeah,
and watch it all the way through. And I think that's going to happen with Rebirth, honestly. Like, I think it's one of those movies that if someone were to put it on, I would watch it the whole way through. Or I would suggest, like, or I would just put it on if I want to watch something. Like, I think it has that rewatchability that, like, even for me, like, Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 don't have, which is
yeah,
surprising
agree.
because I love the Lost World. But in more recent years, I've been I've been a bit more critical of it because I'm like, man, the Lost World, like nothing happens in the third act. Like literally,
No,
like they like bring the T Rex, it escapes, they get it, like that's it,
yeah,
and it's actually pretty funny.
it's a
Um,
really fun segment though. I
mhm.
don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it, but I just like I think it's just more of a realization of how quick like it relies on it just being kind of like a car chase scene. Like it is very like
Yeah,
fast and furious in that sense. Like that's the kind of like Fast and Furious like finale essentially.
for real.
Which but with like a dinosaur, which is like fine. And again, like I'm not mad about it, but like in more recent years, I'm just kind of like, huh,
Yeah,
like there isn't as much of a like us. I think it's because it's like all of like Sarah's and Ian's decisions of what they do at the end of the Lost World, you know that they're gonna make those decisions like in Act Two, like because when they're trying to like stop them from bringing all the dinosaurs, like stop InGen, like and they go and like they remove all the bolts and like everything. At that point,
mhm.
okay, well you know where all of these characters are gonna be by the end of the film, and I think that's why now I'm a bit more critical of it. Again, not that bad, but like it's become like less exciting, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
But like, see, because in my head, I almost forget like that entire ending sequence does happen. Because when I think of the Lost World, I'm like the gymnastics scene, like. But because again, that's like a character thing. It's like you heard that like she was cut from the team, like
Hmm.
Kelly was cut from the team, and then like it comes back, and then like is even referenced like they cut you from the team. Like that's why that scene again, like you're killing a dinosaur using gymnastics, but like that scene
Sure.
is so prominent in my head. And I almost feel like a lot of times when I think about that movie does end kind of before they bring the T-Rex to San Diego. Because I think like the actual story arc kind of ends there, like in the grand scheme
Yeah.
of things. Um, but then it just like carries on and now you get this whole thing of it like rampaging. But like again, like I said, this is more in retrospect and this is more like having rewatched them recently where I'm like, huh, like I've always just felt like the story ended a lot earlier than where the movie actually ends.
Because am I remembering it right? I again, I hope this isn't like a fact check. I think you'd have to confirm. Spielberg wanted the car chase scene to happen in a third movie,
I
but he was
think
too
so.
burnt out
I
to make
think
it.
so. I cannot confirm now, so we'd have to like I'd
Yeah,
have to like
double
Google
check
that.
that one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think you're right though. I think that sounds right. And then that also makes sense. Like, because again, it does feel like an not an added scene, but like that third act does feel weird now that I see
Mm.
I can be critical of the movies that I like.
Yeah,
Like
sure. It's like
exactly. Yeah.
the impression I'm under was like he really wanted to do that scene, but he didn't want to make a third movie, so he just kind
Mm,
of like added it in,
okay.
which makes
Yeah.
sense.
But that's why I was saying like when, like Andrea said that like um she might rank it as two. I was like, that's bull. But I'm like, you know what? Like, there might be some points there. There might be some pretty valid points because I think when you look at Rebirth, like objectively, it does have a beginning, middle, and end of where it's supposed to beginning, middle, and end. And that was something that I've been saying about a lot of movies, which is crazy nowadays, is that so many movies don't have a beginning, middle, and end anymore. It's just like a series of scenes like put together. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but like it it is true. And I don't even mean just like action films. I mean like cross genre. Like
Oh yeah.
like comedies, rom-coms, whatever, like dramas. Like there are a lot of movies out there where like nothing has technically happened, even though you've been watching for like an hour and a half. So yeah. Anyway, we kind of like got to lost. I knew this would happen. There's so much to talk about. Um, should probably try to wrap up. This is gonna be like an hour and a half episode.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I knew it was going to be. And
Yeah.
I think us deciding to talk about the score in a separate episode, I'm really excited to kind of,
Oh my God.
yeah, break that down and really discuss that. So,
I'm gonna
yeah.
bring my notes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to listen to the old, like the other scores too, just to kind of,
I do recommend it
yeah.
because even though I don't like the Jurassic World trilogy movies, the soundtracks, they're entirely like separate beings as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Michael
Because
is like, he's an
amazing.
incredible composer. Like he's done some of the best scores for like movies, like in some movies that like I absolutely love. So
Yes.
like there's no denying the talent of the score.
It's also worth just for like comparison's sake. But yeah, again, save that for the next one.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Mhm.
try and wrap this up. Any final thoughts about Rebirth? Not score related.
I would like to see it again.
Yeah. I think that's I really hope I get to see it again in theaters. I don't think I will, but it hasn't disappeared completely yet. So
I need
uh,
to check
yeah.
my local branches.
Yeah. I definitely want to see it again. I think I would just really enjoy that. And I can't wait to have it on home video. Like I know again you can like download it now or like rent it or whatever it is, but
No,
I
physical media.
yeah, physical media guys, please. I can't wait to have my physical copy of it and just to be able to like watch it again.
Absolutely.
And I think yeah, again, I've said it multiple times. If you haven't watched it or you're kind of hesitant to watch it because you disliked the Pratt trilogy like we did, it's nothing like those. So I think it's a big improvement on them. Um, but that being said, on the opposite end, if you did like the Pratt trilogy, you're not going to like this movie. Like it's, I've really accepted that at this point. Like nothing to me would change anyone's mind
No,
about that. Just really kind of reading what people thought and you know, but I think like I've always said that like I don't understand how you like the Jurassic World trilogy if you like Jurassic Park. I've always said that because to me it didn't make sense, but I think this new entry in the franchise makes that like abundantly clear. Um and again, that like goes with the TV shows too. I was just like, I don't know how you like the TV shows because they actively kind of hate on the movies, even though they're not saying them. Maybe you missed it. They'll never say it either. So,
no,
but the signs are there.
the
You know
signs are
that
so
you know
super
that
there.
meme. It's like, oh, you wouldn't
Don't
know if
let me
I
tap the
won the
phone.
lottery. Yeah, 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 yeah. That and like you wouldn't know if I won the lottery, but the signs would be there. Like I feel like that was a lot, especially I think it I don't know, especially with Chaos Theory, in my opinion. I was like, Chaos Theory is so good that I was just like,
Season 4 and 5 of Chaos, Camp Cretaceous as well.
mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, ooh, see ya.
And it's interesting too because like those are probably the most two hated seasons of that show, and
Hmm.
I'm like, wonder why.
Interesting.
Interesting. Points were maybe made. Like that really it does actually fall in line though. Like when you see what parts of the Jurassic franchise that people really dislike, if they like Jurassic World trilogy, then it all
Hmm.
the dots connect.
The
Like
dots connect.
very
It's that
much
one
so.
always sunny meme with the board behind him and the cigarette.
Yeah, yeah, it's like yeah, no, totally. Like it does make a lot of sense. Yeah, so I guess we're kind of wrapping up. That was a lot. It was
That
long,
was a
but
lot.
I'm not surprised. Like we knew we were going to
No,
talk about it, and we still have more to talk about. So I'm excited to kind of like deep dive more. This was just supposed to be kind of like the summary of our feelings. Yeah,
initial
right.
thoughts.
Initial thoughts with spoilers.
Hour and a half.
Yeah. So if you have listened this long, congratulations.
We love you.
We love you. Yeah. But if you have listened this long, thank you for listening for that long, and hopefully we gave some insight. I don't know at this point, but we will be talking about this movie more. We will be talking about the franchise more. So I hope that you enjoyed your time. And I hope that you go watch Rebirth if you haven't. I'm sad if you didn't like it. We're very sad if you didn't like it. But maybe this, if you didn't like it and you listen to this, it might open your eyes to kind of maybe watch it through a different lens and maybe see some things that you didn't quite see the first time around. But yeah, so we will see you. I always say this. I never know how to end these things. So
No, we need to work on like an
yeah,
outro,
I
don't
need
we?
like a gimmicky outro, but like until next time, this is a dash of chaos theory. So, dinosaur talk. It's a good time.
Yeah.